Hello, Year 7. Hopefully you have had lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of practice now of adding and subtracting like terms. And hopefully you have mastered that skill, because now we're going to change what we're doing and we're going on to multiplying, and then tomorrow we'll be doing dividing. And the rules are different for multiplying and dividing. So it is important that you do not confuse addition and subtraction with multiplying and dividing, okay? So be very, very careful with that. So we already know that when we have a multiplication sign between two things, we prefer not to write a multiplication sign. Instead, we prefer to write them next to each other. So A times B is better written as AB. If the letter happens to be the same letter that it's multiplied with, A times A, we don't want to write that as AA. A better way to use that using indices is to write A squared, because that means the same number multiplied by itself. If you had three of them, A times A times A, that would become A cubed, and so on. All right, the third dot point. The order in which values are multiplied is not important. So that means that 3 times A is exactly the same as A times 3. If you think about it with numbers, 3 times 4 is the same as 4 times 3. It doesn't matter the order when you multiply things. So those things are equal. Whoops, wrong pen. Okay, and just in case you're wondering what they're equal to, we put them next to each other, the 3 and the A next to each other, they would be equal to 3A. We just write them without the multiplication sign and prefer the number first. So, next dot point. Because of the associative property of multiplication, there's some big words in there, isn't there? So, meaning things like this. 3 times bracket 5 times 2. And 3 times 5 bracket times 2. So we're really doing the same thing, but we're putting the brackets in different places. Because those things are actually equal, when you're multiplying, it doesn't actually matter the order that you multiply in. The brackets are not actually needed. Okay, so that's what the next space is there. Brackets are not needed when only multiplication is used. Okay, it would be different if there was some addition and subtractions or other operations in there, but if they're all multiplications, we don't need the brackets, we can just have them all next to each other multiplied. Okay, so that means 3 times A times B and 3 times A times B. Okay, so they're really all the same things, just written in a different order and with some brackets in there. We could really just write all that messy, complicated stuff by putting the number first. So the number, let's just look at the first one. The number was a 3. And then we had 2 letters, the A and the B. Now, we usually prefer to write the letters in alphabetical order, which we're going to talk about in our next dot point here, getting a bit ahead of myself. So we put the number and then the 2 letters, the A and the B, all next to each other, because we're next to each other we know means multiply. Okay, so next dot point. Numbers should always be written first. So just like I had to put that 3 first in a term, and pronumerals are generally written in alphabetical order. I gave that away in the last dot point. So for example, B times 2 times A is written as, we put the number first, so the 2 is the number, and then the letters, the B and the A, go afterwards, but in alphabetical order we would go A and then B, so 2AB. All right, example time. Complete the following. Write 4 times A times B times C without any multiplication signs. Simply put, all we have to do is push all of those things together so that they are next to each other without, with the number being first, so the 4 will be first, and the letters all in alphabetical order. And they are already in alphabetical order, so it's just 4, A, B, C. Part B, simplify 4A times 2B times 3C, giving your final answer without any multiplication signs. So our rule is number first, but there's 3 numbers there. What we need to do is multiply them together. So we go 4 times 2 times 3. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. So multiply all the numbers and then put all the letters afterwards in alphabetical order. A, B, C. Okay, so that's basically the gist of what we're going to be doing with all the rest of these examples here as well. So question 2 says, simplify each of these. So just remember, multiply any numbers and the letters collect up afterwards in alphabetical order. So for the first one, A, we go 8y times 3. 8 times 3 is 24. And the letters collect up afterwards, only one letter, so Y. Part B, 2x times 7y. It doesn't matter that those don't have the same letters. All we do is multiply the numbers. 2 times 7 is 14. And the letters collect up in alphabetical order, X, Y. So you can see what I mean about not getting as confused with addition and subtraction. Because it was very much, if these letters weren't the same, we couldn't do anything with them when we were doing like terms. But in multiplying, it's a whole other story. Do not get them confused. Okay, part C. We want to do 3w times by 4w. So multiply the numbers. 3 times 4 is 12. And the letters, we have w and w. Remember, if we have 2 of the same letter, we write that as w squared. D. 3 terms, that's okay. We multiply all of the numbers. 5 times 3, which is 15, times 2, which is 30. And all the letters in alphabetical order. T, V, and Z, they are already in alphabetical order, so T, V, Z. Okay, part E, we can do negative numbers too, that's all right. So we want to go negative 4w times by 9. We're still multiplying here, but we're multiplying negative 4 times a positive 9. A negative times a positive makes a negative answer. 4 times 9 is 36, and my letter is W. Okay, be careful with minus signs like that. It tends to be where a lot of people make silly mistakes. Okay, F, minus 10g times by minus 6g. So we're multiplying, but both of my numbers are negative. Negative 10 times negative 6. 2 negative numbers multiplied make a positive. So positive 10 times 6 is 60. G and G makes G squared. And one last one. We want to multiply all the numbers. So this one's getting pretty tricky. We have minus 2 times 4, a negative and a positive, makes a negative. Okay, so that'll be negative 8. Then I have negative 8 times a negative 3. The two minuses are going to make a plus. 8 times 3 makes 24. Now, if you got a little bit confused by that, please remember your trusty friend, the calculator. You can type in just the number part. So you can go minus 2, and then I want to times that with a 4, and I want to times that with a minus 3, and that is equal to the 24. So that just gives me the number part. Then I still need to collect up all my letters. So I have an A, a B, and a C that sit there together at the end. Okay, so we have one lesson to practice multiplying. So you have a couple of pages here. Exercise 6 is what you're doing today. So what are we at? Page 27, 28, 29. So 3 pages there to get done. Please make sure that you're getting all of your work done and that you're checking your answers to make sure that you are on track.